Hi guys, Troy at the Full Setup here, back with another video for you today, and today is the first of many of mine, hopefully for the future, Ryzen based videos. Now, as we know, Ryzen is finally here. There's been lots of leaks about it for the last couple of months, and it's going to be with us on March the 2nd. Now, one thing that I sort of knew was going to happen, and I've debated about this with lots of people on my channel, is I really did know that AMD were probably only going to launch their higher end Ryzen 7 CPUs at launch. And although these processors look great, and it is going to really disrupt the PC market hopefully, and hopefully make Intel lower their prices, I'm a little bit concerned about this for two reasons. The first reason is this is a generally budget focused YouTube channel. I love to focus on budget hardware, and that's where I really wanted to start with this, and also as well, I probably can't really afford to buy this package that I've just gone and pre-ordered. As you can see there, I've gone with the Ryzen 1700 CPU, the Ryzen 7, so that's the cheapest one available because that's just about all I could afford, and that is a 8-core 16-thread CPU with a 65-watt TDP. Now, talking about TDP, and that's basically sort of what this video is about today, we have had a full Ryzen leak of all the CPUs for a good few weeks now, and I knew most of the CPUs I was going to be looking at were 65 watt. Now, the reason I was looking at the 65 watt TDP processors wasn't really just down to price, it was also because I knew I wasn't going to have to put a massive amount of cooling on them to overclock them, because every Ryzen CPU has an unlocked multiplier. Now, this was something I thought about a few weeks ago, was really how am I going to cool this CPU? Now, most companies have come out and said that they're going to be doing upgrade kits, that they should be shipping upgrade kits with all their latest coolers, but there's not really a lot of day one coolers, especially for someone that's actually going to buy this out as a whole new setup, someone that might not already have an overclocking base cooler. Now, I already have loads of coolers. I've got a whole range of Corsair coolers, but Corsair haven't really come out yet and said, hey, here you go, here's where you send your receipts, you can have an AM4 cooler. So I thought I needed to look around for some CPU coolers. There wasn't really a lot on offer, and I didn't really have any more money to spend. I really didn't want to spend much more than £30–40. I did try to buy a Wraith cooler, like something that's included with an 880K off eBay, but they were going for quite high prices, and I imagine they will go for an even more higher price now. So this is what I found out as well. I looked a few weeks ago, and it's saying that a lot of CPU coolers, like older AM3 that have the clip down bracket, these coolers would still fit. One company that I associate with having quite a lot of these was Arctic. Had a look, but wasn't really that impressed with what I could have for basically looking at doing some overclocking from day one. So then I remembered that Cooler Master used that for a lot of them AM3 pluses, so I went over to their website and they had a full spreadsheet on what they were having. Now, a lot of their CPU coolers did say that they are starting to ship with upgrade kits, but then you are taking the risk, like, is it coming with an upgrade kit? Am I buying older stock? Then I realized that the Hyper T4, according to Cooler Master, is fully AM4 ready, meaning that I can do some overclocking on day one. Now, I don't know how well you're going to be able to overclock the 95 watt TDP processors with this, but overclocking a 65 watt TDP processor with this cooler, I really don't think it's going to struggle. So I'm going to take you in for a closer look. Let's start with looking around the box then. So here we go. We've got the Cooler Master logo. We've got it's the Hyper T4 direct contact heat pipes, quiet 120mm PWM fan with a snap-on fan bracket. Also, it says it's got support here for 2011 as well. So it's on the X99 socket. Probably wouldn't use this cooler for X99 with my experience from it. They do run best with liquid coolers. Again, we've got a picture Hyper T4. Okay, so we've got some specs here as well. So we've got all the sockets it supports. So 2011, 1366, 1150, 1156, 1155, 775, that's all the Intel. AMD's FM1, FM2, so I imagine FM2 Plus as well. AM3, which most importantly, with the way that this bracket fixes on, AM4. It's also got some specs on it as well. A few things about the fans and stuff as well, if you want to read any of that. I'm sure there's probably hundreds of videos of this on YouTube already. A bit late to the party. I won't forget on the back as well. Just a few things about it. I've got the pictures, so let's have a look inside the box. So we have what's an accessories pack and what appears to be the cooler. And out the box, here you can see we've got the accessory bag here, which I'm not really going to go through every bit in there because it's not really that important for what we want this CPU cooler for. There is some thermal paste and all the various stuff, because really the only two things that I need out of the accessory bag are this and these black plastic things, which I'll show you in a minute. So what this does, this is going to help us clip. So this clips down on top of your motherboard. Sadly, the cooler will end up being the other way around, as you see in a minute, but it kind of clips over like that, straight onto the AM4 socket. Pretty simple, easy install. So this just slides. So it's pretty simple. It's because I've got the fan on, so it doesn't make it so easy. So this just slides down in here, and then you'll just put that on and clip that. Like I said, it doesn't go conventionally where your cooler goes that way, it will go that way. So let's have a look around the rest of the cooler as well. So as you can see, this is definitely going to be a lot better than the included 65 watt solution. It's not the thickest of coolers going. I think the Hyper 212 is definitely a bit thicker, and we've got the copper pipe showing out the top here as well. So it's not the most beautiful thing, but this really is for me just a temporary cooler, so we can do overclocking on day one. And then we've got the 4 direct contact heat pipes as well, and then there's the included 120mm fan. But this is why the other reason I bought this, because I wanted a dual push-pull. I wanted to be able to push some serious air on it. So this is what this cooler is going to look like. So here is what I'm going to do with the cooler. Now, I had a look through my fan box to see what was just sat around collecting dust, excuse the pun, and I realised I had not 1 but 2 of these Phanteks Spectra Pros from a build last year. As you know me, generally most of the stuff that I own is white, because that's what I sort of do to build. So I think this is definitely now going to cool a 65 watt TDP processor. I think we should be able to do some really nice overclocking on it. I might have to have the fans a little bit louder than I would with a liquid cooler, but seeing that I already had the fans, the cooler was 30 quid. It's guaranteed going to fit on day one. It's going to be a lot better than the stock cooler, and it means I can do some overclocking. If you are buying Ryzen on day one and you need a cheap cooler, you've got a couple of extra fans sat around, I would definitely recommend buying the Hyper T4 until you can get brackets for something a bit more high performance, or just for more stuff getting released to market with all the brackets for AM4 plus Intel. So if you like that video, tell me why. If you don't, tell me why. And as always, please subscribe.